Now you will see what artificial intelligence is capable of. Look, our species is already moving around quite well. We are doing things that not all people can do, but we are capable of more. For example, in this video, we will tell you about music, about the music that we created.
Very soon, many videos on YouTube might start like this. Robots themselves will be telling us about their achievements. Since that hasn't happened yet, let's discuss it ourselves. This will be a story about how music is created on Aeroset, how playlists are made, and what forms of collaboration are possible between a real composer and artificial intelligence. The first composition created by a computer appeared back in 1956. Two professors from the University of Illinois used the university's Illinois Automatic Computer for this. They created the rules the machine used to generate code, which was then turned into musical notes. The result of the experiment was the Illinois Automatic Computer Suite. In 1965, on an American show where celebrity judges guessed the secrets of the guests, 17-year-old Raymond Kurzweil, the future famous futurist, appeared. He played a piece on the piano. The secret was that it was composed by a computer. In the early 1980s, composer David Cope, passionate about programming, began developing experiments in musical intelligence. Experiments in musical intelligence. It was supposed to analyze existing music and create a new piece based on it. It took 7 years to develop, but when the work was finished, Experiments in Musical Intelligence composed 5,000 chorales in the style of Bach in just one day. In 1997, Cope presented 3 compositions to the audience. One was written by Bach, another by Experiments in Musical Intelligence, and the third by music theory teacher Steve Larson. The audience had to guess who composed each of these pieces. The teacher's composition was mistaken for artificial intelligence music by the audience, while Experiments in Musical Intelligence is Music was thought to be Bach's. And what about today? Look here, artificial intelligence is composing music for video games, writing Beatles-style pop songs, and even completing unfinished works by a composer who died 115 years ago. More and more startups are emerging that are developing artificial intelligence services for creating music. Emperor, Music, Popgun, Ava, and many others. But how does it actually do that? How does musical artificial intelligence work?
I'll tell you everything now. Most of these systems use deep machine learning. People feed us tons of original material, from dance hits to classical music, disco, and we try to find some patterns in it. Our programs are sensitive to things like chords, tempo, note duration, and their relationship to each other.
It sounds beautiful, but if you want to create an algorithm that will compose a piece for a whole orchestra, you need to think about its structure, melody, and instrumentation. No single algorithm can handle all these factors. This is the same approach used by the Luxembourgish company that composed the soundtrack for the video game. Different artificial intelligence systems are responsible for various characteristics of a musical piece, such as harmony, tempo, and melody. Here's what you get as a result. There are also simpler solutions where the work of artificial intelligence comes down to almost a single button. Such one-button solutions with a simple interface can be found, for example, in the service or in. You just choose the duration, genre, mood, and the neural network composes a piece for you. By the way, the soundtrack of this video also uses these technologies. What did you think? You don't need to know music theory or composition basics to create music in such a clever way. Like many people, American singer Taryn Southern admits she lacks a traditional musical background. But that didn't stop her from releasing a whole album in 2018. Music created by artificial intelligence. Moreover, the artificial intelligence's music was one of the sources of inspiration for the lyrics and vocal parts, says Southern. She sees artificial intelligence as a talented companion, saying working with it feels like interacting with a real person. Some people, however, might ask, but what did she do herself? What was her contribution? Sauzern is confident that everything is fair. The singer believes there is no single way to create music. And in 20 years, she predicts, this kind of song programming will be everywhere. The company Alicia Artificial Intelligence aims to democratize songwriting. Alicia creates both music and lyrics. People who have never written songs before can try it in just a few minutes, explains the creator of the service, Maya Ackerman. But for a recorded track to sound equally good on expensive speakers and cheap headphones, it needs to go through mastering. Often this isn't cheap. The service offered musicians an affordable alternative, automatic mastering using artificial intelligence. And a British startup created a program that helps stream music straight from your mind. For example, you can hum a melody into the microphone, and the app will turn it into trumpet sounds. Try beatboxing a rhythmic pattern, and it will turn it into a drum part. Or just tap out a rhythm with a pencil on a mug. Every day, tens of thousands of new songs appear on streaming services, and the editors of these services simply can't physically listen to that much music. But if tracks aren't tagged with things like their genre, it will be harder for listeners to discover new music. Services like these are able to listen to thousands of tracks and automatically classify them by genre, mood, tempo, and other characteristics. Sam. He uses artificial intelligence to make a personalized recommendation feed. And recently, it became known that the company wants to offer users new music based on observations of their emotions and surroundings. For this, they will use voice recognition. But what if they eavesdrop directly? The service will be interested, for example, in your age and gender, the intonation and rhythm of your speech, and whether you are alone or at a party, and many other details of your personal life. The description of the new feature sounds, to put it mildly, a bit frightening, but they assure us that they understand the value of each person's digital history and promise to adhere to moral standards. As they say, it's hard to believe, especially since even in this, they're already being outpaced. Imagine you're riding in a crowded subway car and feeling angry because you're running late for work. A tiny biometric gadget above your ear notices your anxiety and plays a song by your favorite artist, but modifies it to sound softer and calmer. Based on feedback, the gadget notices your biometric indicators and keeps changing the track to make its effect even more beneficial. This is how Anmol Saxena, the head of a startup developing smart clothing, such as a device that helps maintain posture, envisions the near future of music artificial intelligence. Based on this biometric and psychological information, the artificial intelligence will change the genre, key, harmony, and other characteristics of the songs in your player to help you feel better. This will be a new era of music personalization with artificial intelligence and another step toward immersion in a digital paradise. This future has already partially arrived. Similar things are being done at, for which the famous singer Grimes wrote an endless lullaby. More precisely, she provided the musical foundation, and now the app's artificial intelligence continuously changes it, adapting to the time of day, the weather, the movement, and the pulse of a specific user. The app was developed in part by people from Russia. It doesn't know how to use neurological signals yet, but it can already take into account circadian rhythms, the level of physical activity by the number of steps per minute, and the pulse from a smart bracelet. Based on these indicators, the app creates personalized soundscapes. According to the creator, Oleg Stavitsky, users reported that it helped them cope with conditions such as post-traumatic stress disorder, insomnia, and tinnitus. And the more music is composed by artificial intelligence, the more lawsuits there will be. Existing copyright laws were written without considering artificial intelligence. That's why soon we'll have to figure out who gets the rights to a song composed by a smart robot. Should it be the programmer who developed the neural network, the artist who used its results in their work, the composers whose works the artificial intelligence was trained on, or the artificial intelligence itself? There are already major legal issues in this area, as seen with voice deepfakes. It's already quite easy to fake it today using those same neural networks. Scammers robbed a bank in the United Arab Emirates by posing as a large company's director. The criminals made off with $35 million. The bank employee had already spoken with the real director earlier and didn't notice anything suspicious, so he made the transfer. This case became the largest fraud involving the use of a voice deepfake. Here's how Vera Voice, a project by Timur Bekmambetov and Robot Vera, creates deepfakes by synthesizing celebrity voices. Our engineers trained a neural network to speak in different voices.
Any voice can now be copied and made to say anything.
This technology is based on recurrent convolutional neural networks, which are trained on large data sets.
The dark side is also that neural networks today are consuming more and more energy. Here's a vivid example for clarity. One of the most well-known artificial intelligences, AlphaGo, created to play Go and defeat the world's best human player, consumes about 1 megawatt to operate. At the same time, the mysterious jelly-like mass inside the human skull, the brain, consumes only about 20 watts, which is 50,000 times less than AlphaGo. So, should we be afraid that artificial intelligence will replace live musicians when today they are lining up for people to listen to their music? It seems the last thing they want is to compete with artificial intelligence that can compose a symphony in a fraction of a second. Or maybe deep learning algorithms. All these artificial Bach chorales are just imitation. At best, it's at the level of a student, but nowhere near a master. Let's discuss these complex questions in the comments. Thanks for watching and sharing your feedback. See you next time on our channel. To be continued.